Turning now to Murwillumbah, and as a mammoth clean-up gets underway, we're hearing some incredible tales of survival. Reporter Jackson Vernon spent the day with some locals who, despite losing everything, consider themselves lucky.
It was the quick thinking of Nick Byrne that saved the life of his big sister Erin.
I grabbed her and I pulled her back in with one arm.
Erin was knocked off her feet by a raging torrent that burst through the garage door. Nick had seconds to rescue her.
It was the scariest moment I have ever been in.
I was just shocked. I was terrified.
Mum Janet was watching on in horror.
Mate, I was freaking out. I just couldn't deal with it. It was just too crazy. Sort of losing one of your kids, that was it.
About around 11 o'clock, it started coming actually inside the house.
Darryl Rendell and his daughter Cherie also had a lucky escape. Floodwaters surrounded their home and Darryl used a surfboard to paddle to his boat, which had been washed away.
Got my wife, daughter and their stepson into the boat out the window, and somehow or other we rowed over to the railway station.
It's
devastating.
lucky we're alive. Lucky we got out. My mum half blind, and yeah, she's not very broken back and everything, and lucky we got her out the window. We dragged the bed because it was floating. We dragged it over and put her on the bed to get out the window.
This is where the water's come up to?
Come up to here.
The house was one of the first in Murwillumbah to go under. Photos and precious keepsakes are among everything that's been destroyed.
We've been through floods before. I used to live at Tubolgum and never like this. It's just heartbreaking. It's just so hard.
Hard to talk about it.
Well, Cherie and Darryl's home is here on Railway Street. It's one of the worst hit areas in Murwillumbah. And what we're seeing right now are neighbours and people from outside of town who've come here to lend a hand and clean out the huge amount of property that's been damaged in the floods. Now, what we're seeing right now are almost the entire contents of people's homes dumped here on the side of the street. And scenes like this are being repeated right across Murwillumbah.
Jackson is still in Murwillumbah tonight. Jackson, after all this devastation, what's the mood like there?
Juanita, good evening. Yes, despite the devastation that Murwillumbah has endured, spirits are high among many of the residents here. We've seen people holding barbecues, handing out food to the hundreds of people that have come here to assist with the flood cleanup. And even tonight, we've been seeing people still bringing out debris from their homes, a sign, I guess, of just how determined people are to get back on their feet. Unfortunately, we still do have a lot of water around the town, which is going to be hampering some of that cleanup. Things like removing abandoned cars which are lying in fields and opening up some of the roads. And of course, we've still got the big task of removing these massive piles of rubbish that line the town.
And there are some politicians headed that way tomorrow.
We do. The ABC understands that the Premier and the Prime Minister will fly over the flood-affected areas sometime tomorrow morning. Gladys Berejiklian will be in the Tweed and is also expected to look at the flood damage here in Murwillumbah and Lismore. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister is expected to tour the region separately.
Jackson Vernon reporting there.